Welcome to the fifth video in this playlist on empowering security analysts with Microsoft Defender Threat Intelligence, or MDTI. I am Terry Clancy. In this video, we will discuss the use of Security Copilot with Defender Threat Intelligence, or MDTI, Sentinel, and Defender XDR. After introducing the topic and why it is important, we'll then briefly discuss setting up the integration of Security Copilot with Defender XDR, MDTI, and Sentinel, and then discuss the basics of using Security Copilot before diving into the detail of using Security Copilot with MDTI, Defender XDR, and Sentinel. If you're already familiar with any of the topics, feel free to use this timestamp guide to jump directly to your topics of interest. Similarly, if your organization has already set up Security Copilot to run with MDTI, Defender XDR, and Sentinel, you may want to skip the section on integrating Security Copilot. In today's digital landscape, cybersecurity is more critical than ever. Organizations face a myriad of threats that require advanced tools and strategies to mitigate risks effectively. To address these challenges, Microsoft Defender Threat Intelligence, Sentinel, Defender XDR, Security Copilot, and related products collectively form the Microsoft Unified Security Operations Platform. All these components are accessible through the Defender portal, ensuring a unified user experience. This integrated solution delivers a scalable, cloud-native security information and event management, or SIEM, system, offering an intelligent and comprehensive approach to SIEM and security orchestration, automation, and response, or SOAR. Additionally, Microsoft Security Copilot, a generative AI-powered security solution, allows you to leverage natural language to maximize the capabilities of the Unified Security Operations Platform. This empowers security analysts to enhance security outcomes at machine speed and scale. This presentation focuses on utilizing Security Copilot alongside MDTI, Sentinel, and Defender XDR. Security Copilot serves as an AI-powered assistant that seamlessly integrates with the Microsoft Unified Security Operations Platform to provide real-time assistance with incident and threat management. It combines information on incidents and your IT asset inventory with contextual threat intelligence, including details about threat actors, indicators of compromise, and vulnerabilities. This integration delivers situational awareness and actionable guidance on incident response and remediation. By leveraging natural language processing, Security Copilot enables users to rapidly investigate incidents, enrich threat hunting activities, and gain deeper insights into the threat landscape. It can reason over the vast amount of data within the Microsoft Unified Security Operations Platform, allowing you to use natural language prompts to quickly identify relevant information and uncover correlations that might otherwise be difficult or impossible to find. For example, Security Copilot connects the dots between MDTI's universal threat intelligence and your organization's IT asset inventory, as collected by Sentinel and Defender XDR. This streamlines workflows, making it easy for security teams to respond to threats efficiently and effectively. Security Copilot offers two distinct experiences: the standalone experience and the embedded experience. The standalone experience has its own separate user interface, while the embedded experience integrates seamlessly as added functionality across the Defender XDR and other products within the Defender portal. Before you can use Security Copilot, you need to ensure that it's correctly configured. But first, let's look at the prerequisites. If you're setting up Security Copilot for your organization, then you'll need an Azure commercial subscription. At this time, government clouds are not supported, and at least one Security Copilot Security Compute Unit, or SCU. Currently, they are $4 an hour, and Microsoft recommends starting with 3 SCUs per hour. Note that Azure Automation or Azure Logic apps can be used to schedule the provisioning and deprovisioning of SCUs to be active only during work hours, or as required. See the link on this page for the current pricing and pricing calculator. Also, it's worth noting that even one SCU includes access to the Microsoft Defender Threat Intelligence, or MDTI, and Microsoft Defender Threat Analytics, or MDTA, capabilities in Defender for all users in your organization. This can make it a great deal and includes Intel profiles, articles, and the Analyst Workbench. It does not include the MDTI API license to support, for example, Sentinel automated enrichment of incidents. You'll also need access to the Defender portal. Any of the licenses in the list on this slide will give you access. For example, Microsoft 365 E5 or A5. Now, looking at permissions. To provision SCUs and associate capacity to Security Copilot, you need to be an Azure subscription owner or contributor. To set up the Security Copilot default environment, you need to have at least Microsoft Entra Security Administrator role. Note that this is not an Azure role. While SCUs are in Azure and use Azure roles, Microsoft Security Copilot and the Defender XDR portal run in the Microsoft 365 environment and use your organization's Entra accounts and permissions, not Azure's. You can start the process of provisioning security compute units and setting up Security Copilot in either Security Copilot or in Azure. I'll discuss both approaches. To start your setup in Security Copilot, sign into Security Copilot at securitycopilot.microsoft.com, select Get Started. Then you need to set up your security capacity. This is where Azure permissions are required. You'll need details about the subscription and the resource group, and you'll need to provide a capacity name and decide in what location you want evaluations to be done and in what Azure region you want your capacity to be stored in. You'll also need to specify a number of SCUs per hour to provision, with a minimum of 1. It will then take several minutes to deploy the Azure resource on the back end. To start your setup in Azure, search for and open Microsoft Security Compute Capacities, click on Plus Create, set your subscription and resource group, enter a capacity name, select the location for your prompt evaluation to be run, and unless you're restricted by policies as to where your compute can run, then for optimal performance, click here to allow prompt evaluation to be run elsewhere if your selected location is busy. Select the region your capacity resource will be stored in and select your number of SCUs per hour. Then click on Create, and after deployment is complete, click on Go to Portal and complete setup. Once in the Security Copilot portal, you can complete your setup. This is where you need the Microsoft Entra Security Administrator role. You're informed where your customer data will be stored, and then select if you want Security Copilot to capture and store admin actions, user actions, and system responses. Select among the data sharing options and select the roles that can access Security Copilot. And then a confirmation page is displayed where you should select Finish. With that all done, you're ready to use Security Copilot. There are 3 types of RBAC or role-based access control roles in Security Copilot. Security Copilot RBAC roles are internal to Security Copilot. For example, those shown here on the right. This table shows the default rights for the Copilot owner and Copilot contributor roles. Microsoft Entra RBAC roles grant access across the Microsoft portfolio of products and are managed through the Microsoft Entra Admin Center at entra.microsoft.com. For example, as discussed, Microsoft Entra Security Administrator role is required for setting up Security Copilot. Azure RBAC roles control access to Azure resources. For example, as discussed, you need the Azure subscription owner or contributor role to create and assign SCUs. The Usage Monitoring Dashboard provides a comprehensive view into various metrics including security compute usage in Security Copilot. It shows the number of units used, the specific plugins employed during sessions, and the initiators of those sessions. It includes up to 90 days of data and supports filtering and data export. To open it, go to the Home menu, Owner Settings, and select Usage Monitoring. Okay, now we've discussed setting up Security Copilot and integrating it with components of the Microsoft Unified Security Operations platform. Let's move on and discuss how to use Security Copilot. Security Copilot provides 2 approaches to integration. Connectors are a wrapper around the Copilot API that allows developers and users to call out to Security Copilot. The only example of this I'm aware of is a Logic Apps connector, which provides for low-code development in Azure Logic Apps that utilizes the features in Security Copilot. Much more common are the Security Copilot plugins. These allow Security Copilot to perform specialized tasks and access data in other systems. For example, Security Copilot uses plugins to get incident data from DefenderXDR and threat intelligence from MDTI. Security Copilot comes with many default plugins and, as you can see here, supports several other Microsoft and non-Microsoft plugins. You can also extend Security Copilot's capabilities by adding or creating your own plugin. In Security Copilot, use this button here to see what plugins are available and activated for you. You should ensure that the plugins for any applications that you have access to are switched on. Also, this Manage Sources dialog box in the Files tab allows you to upload files, such as your internal policies, ensuring that your organizational knowledge informs Copilot's responses. When prompting, specify a file name or uploaded files to ensure Copilot utilizes them. Only you will have access to your uploaded data. Microsoft Security Copilot offers an immersive standalone experience and an intuitive embedded experience that is available in other Microsoft security products, as indicated in the table on the right here. The standalone experience is designed to reason over data from across your organization's security ecosystem, specifically over data from products with an active Security Copilot plugin, including both Microsoft and third-party plugins. This experience provides broad awareness and scope, enabling more comprehensive security insights and actions. The embedded experiences constrain Security Copilot to only reason over the data from the product it is embedded in, which is better for those targeted embedded scenarios. Let's take a look at both of these. I'll start with Security Copilot in Microsoft Defender XDR. After opening an incident, Security Copilot generates a summary of the incident and a guided response. The incident summary makes it easier for you to get an initial understanding of the incident without needing to deep dive into all the alerts. And the guided response includes recommended actions you can take in relation to the incident. In fact, you can act directly within Security Copilot. For example, you can classify the incident. You can also dive deeper into the incident alerts by using the embedded Security Copilot. For example, if there is a script that looks suspicious, Security Copilot can analyze it for you, helping you to save time because you don't need to look through its contents. Just let Security Copilot do the work. To do that, select Analyze on the alert's content. Now I'll move this investigation over to the standalone application by selecting the menu followed by Open in Security Copilot. The standalone application will allow me to prompt further and use data from services other than DefenderXDR. Note that the context is maintained. So, for example, I can ask Security Copilot to use Microsoft Entra to determine if this is a risky user. And after Security Copilot generates a response, I can see the user is not in the risky users report. I can then continue to use Security Copilot with Entra, MDTI, or other plugins to progress my investigation. Now let's quickly look at the basics of using Security Copilot using a demo in which I'll first cover the key landmarks, the home menu, prompts, sources and help. Then we'll look at the other features that appear after you submit your first prompt, including pinning, sharing and more. The first thing you'll see is a home page, and the prompt bar is at the bottom. That's where you'll submit prompts. Within the prompt bar there are two buttons. Select Prompts to see sample prompts, prompt books and system capabilities. Select Sources to manage your plugins and files, as I have already demoed. Since this presentation focuses on Microsoft Defender Threat Intelligence, we'll use that plugin, but we'll still leave all the others enabled as well. In the Home menu, My Sessions allows you to go back, delete, or move between any of your previous sessions, or create a new session. Prompt Book Library provides access to prompt books, either from Microsoft or those shared within your tenant or your personal prompt books. Settings allows you to customize the UI and set language and time zones. A drop-down at the bottom allows you to switch between tenants. If you have the Copilot Administrator role, you will see more options under Owner, including Owner Settings, Plugin Settings, Role Assignment, and Usage Monitoring. As you're learning to use Security Copilot, you may have questions and you might need help. Just select Help on the bottom right to access documentation, training, and interactive help. Now, let's look at what you can do after you submit your first prompt. I'll start by asking Copilot for a summary of a common vulnerability exposure, CVE-2024-3094 from Defender Threat Intelligence or MDTI, and then select Submit Prompt. As Security Copilot generates a prompt response, it shows the steps it's going through in what is called the process log. Besides prompts, you can also use prompt books, and there are multiple ways to find them. You can use the example prompt books that are here on the home page. We can look for prompts by selecting prompts in the prompt bar, and last, you can select Visit Prompt Book Library to see all the prompt books available to you. For my demo, I'm going to use the Vulnerability Impact Assessment prompt book. Select it and note that all we need for this prompt book is the CVE ID. So select New Session and type the CVE ID as the only input to the prompt book, and then select Run to submit it. The first prompt in this prompt book has been generated, and there are a few things I can do. For example, there are some actions I can take. I can select Edit Prompt to change the prompt and submit an updated prompt to be evaluated. I can select Resubmit Prompt if I'd like another response, or I can even select Delete Prompt to remove the prompt. Finally, you can use this button to create your own prompt books. I can also select Save to Pinboard to pin the prompt, which will generate a summary of all the pinned items I have selected in the side panel. In the breadcrumbs at the top of the screen, you can select the down arrow to see additional options for the current session. You can edit its name, duplicate it, or create a new session. Also, select My Sessions followed by View My Sessions to see all your Security Copilot sessions. Going back to my previous session, you can see that the prompt book has finished running now. I can export this summary by selecting Export Response, and I can also pin more items in this session. For example, I can pin a second one to generate a new summary, and then I can select Export Pinboard Summary or Share Session to finish my investigation. Now we've covered the basics of using Security Copilot, let's look in more detail as to how to use it with MDTI, Sentinel, and DefenderXDR. Security Copilot focuses on making these use cases easy to accomplish. It makes it easier for you to investigate and remediate security threats by quickly giving you the context for incidents and helping you quickly triage complex security alerts into actionable summaries with step-by-step response guidance so you can remediate threats more quickly. Security Copilot can build KQL queries or analyze suspicious scripts, eliminating the need to manually write query language scripts or reverse engineer malware scripts with natural language translation to enable every team member to execute technical tasks. It also helps you understand your risks and manage the security posture of your organization by providing a broad picture of your environment with prioritized risks to uncover opportunities to improve your security posture more easily. You can also troubleshoot IT issues faster because Security Copilot can synthesize relevant information rapidly and deliver actionable insights to identify and resolve IT issues quickly. It is also a great aid when defining and managing security policies. It can help define a new policy, but then also cross-reference it with others for conflicts and summarize existing policies to manage complex organizational content quickly and easily. It has also been designed to help you configure secure lifecycle workflows, to build groups and set access parameters with step-by-step guidance to ensure seamless configuration and to prevent security vulnerabilities. Finally, Security Copilot can help you develop reports for stakeholders with a minimum of effort and backed with Defender Threat Intelligence. It can deliver clear and concise reports that summarize the context and environment, open issues, and the protective measures prepared, and deliver that with the tone and language of the report's audience. So now I'll demonstrate combinations of these scenarios, and I'll start by using Security Copilot prompt books to investigate an incident. I'll start by selecting the Microsoft Defender Incident Investigation prompt book and then enter the incident ID. After selecting Run, it will then run a series of prompts that help us enumerate aspects of this incident. That takes a while, so I'll jump forward. Right away, I can see that the incident involved a suspicious PowerShell command, and it has identified some entities from the script. The next prompt has identified the computer, the user, an IP address, and a URL. This information comes from multiple systems using multiple calls to various interfaces, but Copilot for Security has created one list for me to easily understand within the context of the session. We can see that Copilot has already used MDTI to determine the reputation score of the IP address. We can see that it is 100% malicious, not a false positive, and is known to be associated with the threat actor Silk Typhoon and a penetration testing tool, Cobalt Strike, commonly used by threat actors. It has given me links directly into MDTI for the Intel profile on Cobalt Strike, which provides a detailed description and 51 indicators of compromise, or IOCs. Similarly, the Intel profile on Silk Typhoon provides a snapshot, 11 IOCs, and a detailed analysis of their tactics, techniques, and procedures, or TTPs. We then learn more about the user's authentication methods and if they have multi-factor authentication, or MFA, enabled. If the user identity has MFA enabled, it is less likely that their user identity has been compromised. Copilot has listed the authentication methods for this individual, including Microsoft Authenticator and Windows Hello for Business. The next question in the prompt book identifies a user's devices and if those devices are compliant with the organization's policies. And Copilot didn't find any compliance or policy issues on the user's device. The next prompt book question is to understand the operating system on the user's devices and if they are up to date with all their updates. We can see that the device is running Windows 10 and is current on all its patches. Finally, I'm going to have Security Copilot write me an executive report summarizing the steps that we took in this investigation and written for a non-technical audience. The last thing I'll do is select all of the prompts and pin them to my pin board. I can then go and open up that pin board for a summary, and I have the option to share or download it. Let's now discuss Security Copilot's capabilities in the area of file analysis and script analysis and draw a clear distinction between the two. File analysis leverages AI to automatically examine files for potential threats, using, among other things, IOCs from MDTI. In conjunction with DefenderXDR, it checks file contents, including strings, API calls, and certificates, and checks the file's SHA and MD5 file hash signatures to verify integrity and identify known threats. For customers who have provisioned access to Security Copilot, DefenderXDR will automatically generate a file analysis upon opening a file page. For example, this incident involves 7 files. I can list them by clicking here and click on any file to view its details, such as if malware was detected, the virus total detection ratio, which is a number of antivirus engines that have flagged a file as malicious out of the total number of engines that scanned it, and you can see the SHA and MD5 file hash signatures, certificate info, and more. Script analysis, on the other hand, uses AI to quickly examine suspicious scripts and command line commands, helping you to understand their behavior and potential risks. It provides detailed insights into the script's actions, checks for obfuscation, and identifies associated MITRE, ATT, and CK techniques. As is often the case, there are 2 main ways to get started with script analysis. The first is using embedded Security Copilot, and the second is to start with a standalone experience. Looking at the embedded experience first, for example, here I have an incident that requires attention, and in the incident details I can see that PowerShell launched a command on a remote device. Drilling in on that, I can see a couple of PowerShell command line commands, each with a Security Copilot Analyze button. Clicking on that, the right-hand panel then shows the results of the script analysis with a lot of detail and a step-by-step description of the code. Opening up the ellipses, I can now open in the standalone Security Copilot and continue investigating. So for example, I can start by asking it to extract the entities from the script. It then shows me the methods, URLs, functions, file paths, commands, executables, and more. I can then ask it for intel on the URLs, which it will get from Defender Threat Intelligence, or I can ask it about other entities. From here I have a lot of investigative paths I can follow. Alternatively, I can start a script analysis in the standalone Security Copilot. In this case, a good place to start is to use the Suspicious Script Analysis prompt book. You can paste in the script and click Run. This submits 7 prompts which can bring back a wealth of information and intelligence for you to pivot off in your investigation. Kusto Query Language, or KQL, is an excellent way to retrieve security data because it offers powerful and flexible querying capabilities. You can craft highly customized queries tailored to specific needs, enabling detailed analysis and visualization of security events. Security Copilot can take natural language questions and generate a corresponding KQL query. This allows security analysts who are not familiar with KQL to use the capability. But even for those who are familiar with KQL, it makes creating a query much quicker and easier. Again, there are 2 approaches to this. You can use the embedded Security Copilot in DefenderXDR, or you can use the standalone Security Copilot using the KQL plugin. Let's quickly look at them both. To use the embedded Security Copilot, go to Investigation and Response, Hunting, Advanced Hunting. Click here to open up the Copilot right-hand panel, and then you can either use one of the provided prompts or you can craft your own custom prompt at the bottom. I'll use the second prompt to list all alerts in the last 24 hours. And as you can see, it creates a corresponding KQL, and if you're happy with it, it provides a button for you to execute it. As you can see, it returned 45 alerts. But I can then modify the KQL to specify a longer time period, for example, say 120 hours, and as you can see, I now get 548 results. This is a simple example, but as you can imagine, KQL queries can get very complicated, and that's where Security Copilot really shines. Now let's see how to do this in the standalone Security Copilot. I'll use the same prompt, but I need to add Using KQL at the end of it. Otherwise, it's likely to go directly to the source and use the DefenderXDR API rather than KQL. So the prompt becomes, list all alerts in the last 24 hours using KQL. As you can see, it returns 44 results, which is just one less than we got before because the time periods weren't exactly the same. Understanding and mitigating vulnerabilities specific to your organization can prevent incidents before they even happen. Security Copilot can use Microsoft Threat Intelligence (MDTI) with Microsoft Threat Analytics (MDTA) to map vulnerabilities to your installed base of IT infrastructure and provide a prioritized list of threats with impacted assets and recommended steps for remediation. Threat severity can be ranked by a combination of things such as CVE priority score, number of exposures in your organization, and prevalence of active exploitation in the wild. Let's look at an example of how to do this. You can use a prompt like, please provide a prioritized list of the top 3 threats my organization is vulnerable to, and for each threat provide the MITRE, ATT and CK techniques involved and a complete list of all impacted assets and steps to remediate. As you can see, it has provided the list we asked for, allowing us to really understand our key organizational vulnerabilities together with the steps to remediate. For reference, I might also want to record the CVE IDs for each of these threats, so you can ask a follow-up question. For each of these 3 threats listed, please show me the CVE ID. And the response now includes all the data I need. I can then pin all the responses and I get a summary in the right-hand pane. I can then share or download the summary. The embedded Security Copilot in Microsoft Defender XDR includes an action-oriented guided response section. This provides recommendations for triaging, containing, investigating, and remediating incidents. This helps security teams quickly and confidently apply appropriate response actions to resolve incidents effectively. As you can see, it appears under the incident summary in the Copilot pane on the right-hand side of the incident page. Okay, so in this presentation, we have explored how to use Security Copilot with MDTI, Sentinel, and DefenderXDR. Together with other related products, these collectively form the Microsoft Unified Security Operations Platform. This powerful platform helps organizations stay ahead of sophisticated adversaries, ultimately enhancing your overall security posture. The inclusion of Security Copilot empowers the platform with a natural language interface, amplifying the effectiveness of all the other components. Thank you for your attention. I hope this presentation has provided valuable insights into leveraging Security Copilot with MDTI, Sentinel, and DefenderXDR to outpace sophisticated threats and enhance your overall security measures. This concludes our video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Other videos in this series include an overview of MDTI, an in-depth look at the MDTI APIs, a guide to threat hunting with MDTI, and a detailed examination of using Sentinel with MDTI. I hope you can check out those videos as well. Thanks again, and all the best.